What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Robin #2. This one's written by Joshua Williamson, art by Gleb Melnikoff, and then colors by, was it Luis Guerrero? This is another great issue of Robin. I really like the first issue. I actually like this issue a little bit more because we get a little bit more of the dynamics, some of the rules of Lazarus Island, starting to build the mystery. It's just fun. So let's go ahead and quickly summarize the thing. As you can see on the cover, you have Flatline there. Basically, this picks up right where the last issue left off. Damian is basically waking up because at the end of the previous issue, they had his heart ripped out, but the thing's called Lazarus Island, meaning that you're going to get brought back to life if you die. Okay, that's pretty apparent. But apparently, it's kind of like the movie Jumanji, like the second one and the third one, where basically you have 3 lives, 3 strikes, you're out. Now, after the second life, if you die twice, then you have the option of leaving the island, or otherwise you can stay and kind of risk it all. So that's kind of what's going on here. Rose is here. She acts as a bit of a mentor to Damian, and there's also some shit talking there where she's talking about the fighters, and then she mentions Flatline, and then Rose is just like, don't fall in love with this girl. First girl kills you, pipsqueak. Damian says love is for fools. He wants a rematch, which is kind of funny given the fact that he's reading a certain type of manga, which is kind of funny. So they go ahead and explain the rules of Lazarus Island, explaining what happens, which is if you die 3 times, you're dead for good, but you can die. You have like basically 3 lives. Damian realizes, okay, so there's no consequences if I kill somebody. They're going to get brought back right away, right? She's like, yeah, pretty much. So I don't have to hold back. So Damian's like, she's like, oh yeah, sure. So you can get time to prove yourself. He's like, all right, screw it, game on. So Damian proceeds to kill like 50, like a bunch of different people, and in like extremely kind of like violent ways. He's like, all right, that was the warm up. I don't have to hold back because they're gonna get brought back right away. So it's like there's no consequences to death. So he's like, all right, they're gonna come back in an instant. I just got to prove a point. And then when he's done, he takes his sword, he throws it at the ground right in front of Flatline, and my favorite part of the issue, he does the De Niro eyes from Meet the Parents, and then her response is she winks. She kind of finds it interesting, which is I'm kind of liking because a lot of this issue kind of shows a little bit of their dynamic and what's happened. They also introduce some fighters. Respawn, who's dressed like Deathstroke, which has me, and Roses kind of has her own little motivations for being on the island, not necessarily about winning the tournament. I am convinced that Respawn is going to be Grant Wilson. So that's a theory I have because, well, I mean, who else is it going to be if Rose is going to be there? So my theory is it's going to be Grant Wilson, another fighter known as XXL, who's got like an apparent like really big ego of things. There's Flatline, who fought Damian the last time. There's Black Swan, a killer ballerina, and the biggest challenge of all is Connor Hawk. So as you can see, that's there. It explains the rules of the tournament, and she talks about how, well, first things first, they go and find Damian's little manga that he reads, which is this little romantic one, which is kind of funny and it's kind of surprising. Everyone's like, it's personal. Don't touch my stuff. So they talk about their things, and then Rose is like, look, since we're here, maybe we should team up and try and figure things out here. And he's like, what kind of help are you going to offer me? He's like, I'll train you, since if you want to win the tournament, your skills you showed earlier are just not going to be good enough. And Damian's like, never mind, son of the Batman. So then he goes off and kind of does his own thing, searching, trying to investigate what's going on in Lazarus Island, and then he's greeted by Flatline, who immediately wants to become like friends. So I kind of like their dynamic here. She finds him kind of interesting, a little bit exciting. He sees stuff going on with the Lazarus pit, like this really huge one, and they're tampering with it, and Damian's trying to figure that out. But immediately, like he disappears like Batman, and like his father, like son, kind of cute. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. He still has Alfred there in his subconscious, trying to be like, hey, go call your father. You got something going on here. He's like, no, I'm going to do this myself. And then while Damian's kind of off doing his thing, he gets apprehended by Rose, who's like, look, you need some training. You're really egotistical. You're not thinking things clearly. You're just not as good as you really think you are. So I'm going to teach you some things that Batman can never teach you if you ever want to win this tournament. So you can't go in with the same tactics that you've had before. You have to try things a little bit differently. So then she decides, okay, so the next time we're going on a little bit of a fun adventure. So that's teasing that they're going to some weird like beach party or whatever, which was teased in the solicitations. And basically that in a nutshell is what happens in Robin #2. I quite enjoyed this issue a lot. I like seeing Rose as like this big sister type figure to Damian. I like the fact that Flatline's kind of like her, the way she interacts with him is quite different from what other characters have interacted with Damien a bit, which she, like I said, just the things that Damien does, whereas a lot of people would kind of be like a little hesitant with that. She looks at it and there's kind of some excitement when he does his stuff. I mean, we saw this kind of in the last issue. She was the first one to like want to fight him right away. And Damien just gives the look, and instead of being fearful or anything, she winks like she's excited, like she's happy that he's acting this way. I don't know what her deal is, but I mean, she's just kind of excited. And even when he does his little Batman sneak off thing, because she's bored and she's never really been somebody who's been allowed out. So maybe that's the thing. It's kind of exciting to her, or maybe there's more going on there. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens as this book continues. But I quite enjoyed it. Like I said, Rose is there for her own motivations. I'm convinced that Respawn is going to be Grant Wilson. And the way I think of this is she's like, keep Deathstroke out of this. I'm not here for the tournament. Living forever seems boring to me, but I have other interests. And immediately she's looking right at Respawn, who's dressed like Deathstroke. So I'm convinced that's going to be Grant Wilson. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but we'll see. So there we go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can add. Like I said, the artwork by Gleb is very nice. The color's a little bit different this time around. I think they had a different color artist, but I still think it looks quite good. A lot of shadows. The action and fights are pretty good. There's definitely a lot of humor in the art style, which you can see in moments like this when Damien does the little De Niro eyes. I just like that little moment. He just chucks the sword and he just has his eyes like, I got my eye on you. And she's like, awesome, great. So it's I like stuff like that. I like the fact that Rose is acting like a mentor, big sister type figure, constantly giving him crap and kind of putting him in his place. And she's going out of her way to like train him, to try and like show him a different side of things. So overall, really solid second issue in this thing. You definitely should be picking up Robin if you're a fan of Damian, if you're a fan of any of these characters, the tournament arc, because it's not necessarily fully about the tournament. It's more about the mystery at hand for a lot of these characters. Like what's really going on in this thing? So yeah, trying to think what else I can add to this thing other than Robin number two. It's pretty good. I like Damien. I like his dynamic going on with Flatline, and I really like the whole big sister type role that Rose is going to play. I like the fact that Connor Hawke is in there too, and he's kind of a little hesitant with trying to do the whole killing thing. I think it's interesting how they worked around the whole killing aspect because you get the three lives kind of like in the Jumanji video game. Three lives, it's kind of a game over. So it is a lot like a video game. Like this is kind of a Mortal Kombat tournament. So I think that all plays together quite well. Got some manga influences. Like even then, like the book that Damien was reading, it's going to tie into it has to tie into the themes of it somehow. And in this case, it's kind of a romance one. He's like, Hannah, I think I'm just a bit lost in my head, but you've helped me find my heart. And she's like, ooh, what are you reading? Did not expect this thing. Get away from there. So I think the way Rose is acting, she sees that Damien's never really been allowed to kind of like he's really kept himself kind of closed off from a lot of people, and this time it's going to be about kind of opening himself up to new things and just kind of growing up a bit. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Yeah, so that's it for my thoughts on Robin number two. I really like this issue. I like pretty much everything about it. No real complaints here. Yeah, maybe it's going against Damien's whole killing arc, but with the whole like infinite lives type deal, it really doesn't like even when he's like, oh, they're gonna come back right away, so there's no consequences. What I can do, I can go completely unhinged. Screw it, I'm gonna do it. So he just, for the first time, he's really been like unhinged. Because even when he was fighting Flatline, he says, well, if I would have known the rules beforehand, I wouldn't have held back as much as I did. It's kind of like Superman in that Justice League Unlimited finale where he faces off against Darkseid. He's just like, I live in a world of cardboard, always, taking precaution not to accidentally hurt somebody. But now I've been given a chance to really let go and show you just how powerful I really am. So when Damien was fighting before, it wasn't to be a ruthless killer. This time he's like, okay, I'm allowed to go completely unhinged. And he goes unhinged, showing that he has a lot more skill than he's letting on. So yeah, all good stuff. Great stuff. The only disappointment is I have to wait an entire month for issue three. So I think this is worth checking out. I think fans of Robin, the characters and all that are going to come away pretty satisfied. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got to say for Robin issue number 2. What did you think of it? Tell me what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications. Come back later today. I'm going to be talking about Teen Titans Academy number 2, and I'm going to try and get the Detective Comics, whatever the newest issue is, out today as well, if not tomorrow. So that's all I got to say. Thank you all so much for watching this. As always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.